Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Your Take Show. My name's Ethan Doan. I'm your host, and I'm here just by myself. I couldn't get anyone in for this podcast, and I haven't been uploading for like 2 weeks or so. So I'm just here by myself, so let's see if it has fun. So I want to start the podcast by going through this from the Patriot Press, this new newspaper. I have an article. There's an article in here about me. On the front page, Patriot podcaster interviews students on page 8. I wonder who that is. Sorry. So the title is Ethan Doan takes on podcasting. I believe this is like Humans of Liberty. Yeah, it is. It's written by Nia Williamson. Thank you. Thank you for writing this, Nia, if that's how you say it. It starts off by this. If you guys want to skip this part or you want to read it for yourself, if you have the Patriot Press, you can read it yourself. I just want to read it across, so if people don't have the newspaper on themselves or they just want to skip listening about myself. Some people draw, some write, and some play music. Everyone has their own creative outlet, but freshman Ethan Doan is a little different. He is the host of his own podcast, The Your Take Show, where, weekly or bi-weekly, he interviews Liberty students and shares their stories. Yet Doan's podcast is not just unique in the fact that it's created by a high school student, it's also a video podcast, and Doan wears a suit for each episode. Well, that's slightly untrue. When it's hot stuff, I'll take it off, but sometimes I'll go more casual if I'm too lazy to put it on. Today I have it on because I went to the gala just now, and I came back and I wanted to record a podcast, so yeah. Greg Sather, he was on episode 2 of our podcast, the Your Take Show. He thinks that my attire adds something special to the podcast. It was kind of cool that he wore a suit. It's pretty professional, Sather said. The way Doan dresses isn't the only professional part of his podcast. He has a studio room in his house where he records the podcast complete with studio lights, microphones, and a camera on a tripod. That's what you're looking at right now, fellas. After recording the podcast, he edits the video footage from the camera together with the microphone recording to create the finished video. Obviously, that's not all I do. I have to cut like boring parts out or parts that just they are not good. And the syncing and other stuff. But yeah, they got it mostly right. They did interview me, so I mean they're using what I'm saying. So guess I'm critiquing myself. Clearly, Doan cares a lot about his podcast and, as a result, has structured it in a listener-friendly manner. He divides it into 3 different segments, each of which has a different purpose. The first segment is where I ask the guests to tell stories, which can be themed. The second segment, I'll usually have certain topics, either within the school or out in the world. And the last segment, we just have fun, Doan said. But whatever section of the podcast he's talking on, Doan's personality, one of his main motivations for creating his own podcast, shines through. I thought I would be able to make a podcast because I'm pretty friendly, and my interview skills are good enough. I really enjoy having feedback from other people, and bringing friends in and talking to them is a lot of fun. A lot of people would disagree about me being friendly, but I would like to believe so. I'm trying to. My personality, doesn't, when I'm with friends, it doesn't really show as much because I'm just listening to them, having their opinion, or your take, from the name. So, yeah, it's like an interview podcast. You don't want to intrude on what they're saying. You want to hear their opinion or their story. You can add on to it later, have fun along the way. And although Doan wanted to create the podcast for fun, it's also benefited him in other ways, including his understanding of others. It definitely makes me have a wider recognition of other people and their opinions, and helps me understand why not to judge other people, Doan said. Even if people are hesitant to commit to listening to the full hour of the podcast, Doan recommends to give it a try. I do. There's a lot of content within the hour that I record. It's very entertaining, Doan said. Sather agrees with this sentiment, and he enjoyed his time on one episode of the podcast. I think it was a fun thing to do. I think that podcasts are fun to be on and it's worth listening to. There are some funny people at our school, Sather said. And then there's a link in the paper or the article about you can find on YouTube. Yeah, that's my link to my YouTube channel. Once again, thank you, Nia, for writing this. Thank you, Patriot Press. Yeah. If you want to read it for yourself, you can check it out in the paper. If you don't, you could just listen to it. Once again, thank you, and let's move on. The most important part, I'd say, is that to listen to the whole thing. It's pretty cool. This one's going to be a little bit shorter, this podcast, because I don't have anyone to talk with. So obviously, how could an hour be? I don't think you guys want to listen to an hour just me rambling. Yeah, Patriot Press. Thank you for the story. I'll probably hang it up. A few things. I just went to a DECA gala that was this Friday. It was like a celebration end of year gala where all the DECA students were like they're given awards or like recognition. For example, like Rookie of the Year, like who was the best first year like intern, basically like sales marketing student. Yeah, it was fun. It was in the auditorium, the Landback Auditorium. It was pretty cool. Not many people were there. The students, or not the students, like the board that were speaking, they had like a teleprompter. I thought that was very interesting as well. Yeah, it was fun all around, just sitting and watching like videos. Sadly, my like DECA video didn't win, but props to Nikhil, and because that video was really good as well. I think the DECA gala really like summed up the whole year very well, because there's a lot of like slumps in DECA. It wasn't always the most fun thing, but competition was really where I had most fun in DECA, because all my friends and I were just having fun, joking around, doing a competition with Leo. That was really fun. He and I worked really well together, and I hope that we can work together in the future, like maybe next year. We didn't make nationals, but we did make state, and that was a really good accomplishment for me. A lot of people got awarded that night. I'm proud for all of us, and the DECA gala was pretty fun. My only gripe was that there's a few technical difficulties, which was on one hand pretty funny and one other hand not very professional. But then again, it's a high school production. I don't expect much from it. It was still good though. And also, I was promised like food, and I was given cookies that were so hard that I had to bite into it so hard that I bit my tongue just like from the pressure. And then once I bit through the cookie, I bit my tongue. It was very hard. I don't think it was fresh. It was still a good event, though. The day before the DECA Gala, we had a band festival. Not a band festival, a band concert, rather. And that was really good. We haven't played very good music in wind ensemble, but I think Porgy and Bess was the best song we played all year. It was pretty good. I really enjoyed the jazz band playing. I wish that they had more trombones and other things. But I'll be in jazz band next year, probably, likely. But I always loved jazz band. There's a reason I'm dropping DECA for jazz band, because I love playing music, especially the saxophone. It's really fun. The whole night was pretty fun. There's a lot of stuff that could have gone better, obviously. I mean, it's just, you can't get anything perfect, but it was still really good, and I really enjoyed it. Last concert for a lot of seniors. And, it went well, and their gifts were pretty cool. Although I would say that the ending, the prank, the senior prank, was very awkward and not well done. Where, like, Alex Hartford, amazing guy, don't get me wrong, but he was just like, oh, we didn't give a gift. Oh, do you have paper? Do you have a pencil? No? Oh, well, I guess we don't have a gift. And then Andrea just walks out with like a huge painting or like a picture and just says like, oh yeah, here you go. Seniors, do better next time, because you could have made that a lot funnier. But yeah, good concert overall. Speaking of the seniors, well, senior finals are coming up, and that I believe that means like they're graduating. They're not coming to school anymore because they leave early or something. Lucky them. I mean, they can go off to college. Just not go to like last 10 days of high school, basically. I mean, it must feel really good. I'm just a freshman. I got 4 years to go until I hit that point. Senior finals is like in a week, or like a few days, actually. It might be right now as when this comes out, but Yeah, senior finals are coming up. I wish luck to all the seniors. Well, seniors are not the only people that are taking the finals. Everybody else is taking the final as well. Everybody's taking finals. I don't have many finals. Actually, I do. I have a chemistry final, a pre-calc final, and and the Spanish final. Those are like the most important ones. The rest are probably just projects and other stuff I need to turn in. I'd recommend if you guys are taking the finals, be sure to study a lot. Make sure you cover everything. If you guys got like review packets or other review things, I'd recommend going over those before you take the finals. Most important thing is to not to stress because it's just high school, freshman year, or for me at least, freshman year, it's not gonna do a big deal. Make sure you do well, and not just flunk and not do anything, not do any preparation. Be sure to prepare, but not to be stressed. You don't need to be stressed about anything. AP tests were earlier this month. That means that they don't have to take the test anymore, correct? Yeah, they don't. That means, well, they can just have fun and do their own thing. Yeah, in other news, the Apple had a new release of more products. Let me pull it up right now. Apple new products. So there's a new Mac Pro. Literally looks like a cheese grater. And I believe it costs about like $6,000, something like that. It's a lot of money, and I don't understand why people would buy Apple stuff if you can just build a computer or like a Windows or Mac or PC. The only reason that I see Macs being used is like for software, like video, photo editing, other software such as that. And then there's also the monitor stand. I'm sure plenty of you have seen that. It's literally $1,000 for a stand. Oh, wow. Apple attempted to censor critical coverage of its $1,000 monitor stand. I don't understand that. Apple is trying to sell a monitor stand for $1,000. For me, that just makes Apple just look more and more like a rip-off company. Yet people will still come back to it just because they have so much faith. Like in marketing, they said there's like 3 levels of like loyalty to a company, and this is hardcore loyal. Again, $1,000 for a stand. This monitor doesn't cost $1,000. It's like under $200. Apple used to be so great, and now they're just upping their prices just because they're able to. What? I don't understand. What is so popular about this monitor stand? Why is it cost $1,000? $1,000 for a piece of metal with 2 hinges on it, or $200 for a Visa mount. Huh. I don't understand. Apple is a company that will overprice their products just because they're able to. And honestly, I don't understand how they get away with it. Oh, the $5,000 is a computer screen, and then you cost another $1,000 for the stand itself. So you're paying for $6,000 worth of computer screen. It's literally the same price as an iPhone XS. How does that make sense? I read somewhere that the reason that they overpriced this monitor stand to like unreasonable amounts is to sell like bigger corporations, because bigger corporations are willing to dish out much more money than like a standard consumer, or they'll pass like a blind eye, or they'll just gaze over the price so that they can distribute this product to the employees. I read that's how like the NVIDIA graphics cards are like thousands of dollars because they're just selling it to other companies. $6,000 computer that looks like a giant cheese grater. That's exactly what the Mac Pro looks like. Now, obviously, it's just, like ventilation. However, Apple is just overpricing their products. This is, like, pretty bad. Just don't spend tens of thousands of dollars on a new Mac Pro, please. Not worth it. A lot of people have been asking me to get on the show, and honestly, I can't keep track of all of these people. Well, so what I've decided is to make a Google survey. There will be a link posted in the description, likely. What you'll have to do is fill out your name, dates that you're available to do it on, people that you'd like to do it with, and a reason why you'd be good on the podcast. And then once you submit that, I'll look through them, and then I'll come to you personally and tell you when and where you'll be able to join the podcast and come on the show and talk with me. The important thing to realize is that I can't fit everybody in at a certain time, so I'm sorry, but I have other things to do as well. And this, although it's a really heartwarming to see a lot of people support this, you have to realize that I can't do this like almost every day. Over the summer, I'll probably have more time to do it, but again, you'll have to fill out the survey, and I'll ask you when and where to do it. So I want to get into a much more serious topic. In the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre, the anniversary was a few days ago, June 4th. If you're not caught up, it's where the Chinese government basically slaughtered a bunch of protesters or peaceful protesters in the Tiananmen Square in Beijing, China. I want to talk about how the Chinese government covered up the attacks, or the massacre, basically. So if I saw a video about say it was made in around 2000s, in the 2000s. This was this Chinese man that was going around like a student campus in China and asking people on June 4th what day it was. Not, oh, do you know what happened today or anything, just what day it was. And these students, they understood what he was trying to, for example, he was trying to say oh, do you remember the massacre today? But these students were too scared to, or too unwilling to give any information or give their opinion, because they knew that the Chinese government would likely have other things about them. Something would probably happen to them, because the Tiananmen Square massacre is probably the most censored topic in China, because the Chinese government are trying to cover up that this happened and all this stuff. It's for, let's say, the Holocaust. Let's say, the Germans are trying to cover up that the Holocaust ever happened, And I don't want to give any, political opinion on anything. I just want to talk about this and that it happened, and to recognize all this, because you have to remember all the people that died in this, and to know all this was not a good thing, yeah? So, this was a much shorter episode, as you always see. It's probably around 15-20 minutes. I want to thank you all for listening. Thank you for tuning in to this much more laid back, just me talking, rambling onto you, talking about myself and what's happened around me and other things around the world that happened, over in this week. I'd like to remind you that if you want to sign up for a new podcast, there will be probably a Google survey, Google Docs, something, where you can put in your stuff and sign up. Once again, I'd like to thank you for watching. You can check out my other episodes down in the link in the description. Yeah, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.